Welcome to the Intuitive Pool podcast and welcome to season 6. This is a time of harvest. This season is dedicated to bearing the fruits of your labor as we come into alignment with your full joy, your full trust, your full faith, and your fullest expression of your leadership today. I am so excited about sharing this next season with you. Hi, Intuitive Pool community. I am fresh back from a beautiful sound healing, 3 hours of sound healing, looking and reflecting back on 2024 and feeling into 2025. It was wonderful, wonderful. So I'm a little bit not perfectly groomed, having been lying there on the floor, nestled amongst those beautiful sound bowls and the love that was there. I came back inspired to record this episode. In the spirit of this theme that I've been talking about, it's harvest time. And first of all, recognizing if that's true for you. And if it's not true for you, I don't know if these episodes are going to be that resonant for you. They'll probably be more interesting than resonant for you. But if it's true for you, if you truly feel that 2025 is harvest time, it's a time of harvest, you're going to love what I'm about to say. So yesterday I talked about, in a time of harvest, the era of the phoenix rising doesn't belong here. The era of the phoenix rising is complete. In a time of harvest, we are not falling and rising again and falling and rising again. We are not unbecoming. We're harvesting. We're harvesting the light. And in particular, what we're harvesting is we're harvesting our zones of genius. So in the personal growth world, we do a lot of work around what lies in the shadows. And normally what we associate shadow work with is our egoic, fear-based identity or identities that are lying there in the shadows, our blind spots, the thresholds we've placed on ourselves, on how loving and powerful and deserving we can be. That's normally what we talk about when we talk about shadow work. It's more about leaning into what we've not seen from the perspective of how we're holding fear still within our system, within our being. But in an era of harvest time, when it's a time of harvest, we're not talking about what lies in the shadows from a fear-based perspective. It doesn't mean that we're not going to do some weeding, because there are always deeper places and, more onions that we can peel. So there will be some weeding to do. And the weeding will be around the places that we're out of integrity. But the shadow work that we want to be focusing on in a time of harvest is the light that has been sitting in the shadows. Our zones of genius that have been sitting in the shadows, not fully brought to life. And so there's 3 aspects of our zones of genius that we need to bring awareness to, so that we know what we're harvesting. Because what we're harvesting our zones of genius. So there are our zones of genius that we already know about. So for me, I know that a zone of genius for me is my intuition, my ability to connect, my ability to feel, my ability to see and know things. It's so funny. Before I went to this sound healing session, I said goodbye to my husband and my daughter. And I said, they said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm going to a sound healing session, and I don't really understand what that means. And then Ruby Rose said to me, my daughter, was so funny, because we're watching this Netflix series at the moment called La Brea, which is about a guy that has premonitions and can see things. And she said to me, oh, just like Labria, mum sees things, Dad. Mum sees things, Dad. It was really funny. And yes, I do. So that is one of my zones of genius, is that I see, I feel, I know things. That I live from every day. Yes, I can live more from it. I can live more consciously from it. Certainly when I was in Bali, I was very, very connected and received particular intuition about certain people, like really particular intuition that I will be following up on in early January. But there are also two other aspects of our zones of genius that we need to have a look at so that we can harvest it. So the second aspect that we want to look around or look towards in relation to our zones of genius are our zones of genius that we actually have not defined or named because we haven't seen them, because they have been so natural to us that they've been sitting right under our nose. We just are that. And so we don't see it. And I spoke about this 2 episodes ago where I was writing out my notes to self, and I was inspired to write out to the theme of beautiful madness, which is a big theme for 2025 as well. I wrote out 30 moments of beautiful madness over the course of my life. I think the first one started when I was 25 and I'm 55 now. 30 moments of beautiful madness that changed the course of my life, that changed my life, and therefore changed the lives of many other people. And as I wrote those 30 moments out, which really just flowed, like it wasn't a hard exercise to do, it was in the 30th moment that I saw something that I had never seen before. And it's ridiculous because it's the way that I live my life. And what I saw was that when I'm leading from a place of beautiful madness, I'm leading from a place of beautiful madness because I'm leading from a place of faith beyond reason, beyond evidence, and beyond circumstance. So I lead from a place of faith beyond reason, beyond evidence, and beyond circumstance. Every single moment of those 30 moments that I wrote out of beautiful madness, there was faith that was sitting there at the core of it, that was beyond reason, evidence, or circumstance needing to be in place. I never realized that was a zone of genius until I wrote out those 30 moments and I saw it in the 30th moment. So now that I've seen it, I am absolutely choosing to harvest that consciously in 2025. Yes, I'm going to be harvesting further my intuition and my ability to know and see and feel things. Yes, I'm going to be harvesting this innate faith that I have within myself. I'm going to be harvesting that consciously now. That does not need to be reasoned out before I do something. That does not need evidence before I do something. And that doesn't need circumstances to be in place before I do something. So I'll be harvesting that consciously. The third aspect of our zones of genius, which came to me at this sound healing session, are the zones of genius that we're afraid of, are the zones of genius that are found in the caves that we're feared to enter. And for me, it happened at the beginning of this sound healing session where I became aware of this fear that I have around, and you're probably going to laugh because it is so bloody ironic considering I have a podcast. It is so bloody ironic considering I coach. It is so bloody ironic considering I facilitate workshops, retreats, and masterclasses. That a zone of genius that I have that I'm afraid of is using my voice, is speaking. It's the reason why I have not spoken at events now for the last event I spoke at was when Ruby Rose was in my belly, which was almost 14 years ago. Yes, I've facilitated meditation sessions for the queer meditation group in Sydney. But in terms of getting up and delivering a keynote or delivering a presentation at an event, which I had done several times, and I had a couple of painful experiences that have had me go back into my cave. And yet, the truth is that there are most of the time always some nervous energy before I speak at a masterclass, at a retreat, at a program. Most of the time, there is some nervous energy. But the moment that I start to speak and I get on a roll, I am loving it, loving it. So there is also the aspect of our zone of genius or zones of genius that we've been afraid of and that we've hidden away in a cave or that have been hidden away in a cave and we've feared to enter that cave. You know, the expression, Joseph Campbell's expression, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek to find. So these are the zones of genius, those three aspects of our zones of genius, the ones that we know about, the ones that we don't know about until we do, and the ones that we're afraid about. That's what we want to harvest. I will be facilitating a conversation and an experience around this on the 31st of December at 10 a.m. AEDT Sydney time for 90 minutes. Come to that free masterclass. It's harvest time. It's a no-brainer. If this theme resonates for you, that it's harvest time, you feel that 2025 is harvest time, come. It's a no-brainer. The link is in the show notes. Thank you. Ciao, ciao.